and make sure that we're recording.
Yeah, mine says we're recording.
All right, great.
All right, so well, hopefully Paul's going to show up. Dan's probably going to show up around 7 o'clock.
Yep.
So I'm going to let it turn to 6:45 and then we'll start.
Okay.
Julia, has there been any progress in getting a replacement for Jane?
No, there hasn't yet. I emailed the mayor's office about it again.
Paul's saying he might have a bad Zoom link.
Oh, really? Okay. Paul, do you want to?
Before.
He just emailed me.
Might have a bad Zoom link. Did he go back and find the one that was sent by Andy?
I'm going to send him the one that I have.
Okay. But then he'll be you.
Oh, then it'll be me?
I
Can't
think-
be me.
I think so. That what he can do is go to the agenda and click on the Zoom link as though he's just an attendee or a participant. And then I can promote him to a panelist once he gets on here. That's worked before.
Call that the DeCola method.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's the DeCola method.
All right, we'll see if he goes there.
Oh, one thing I can mention right now is Joe and I think it's Dan. I still need Joe, remember I sent the email to you guys asking for you to sign, print and sign and send an original back to me of the signature page for the which was it? Yeah, the flowering pot, the DCR project.
Oh, well, if you did, I had other things on my mind.
I will resend it. For some reason, they need the actual signatures. They can't accept the electronic signatures for this state land because it's somehow registered land, and that changes their ability to use electronic signatures. I had no idea that was an issue. But so it was just 5 of you. I got one back from Steve and David and and Paul.
Yeah, just resend that to me and
Okay.
I'll take care of it. All right. I expect Paul is going to be coming in at some point. I do want to get this party started. So I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the Newburyport Conservation Commission meeting November 17th, 2020 on the Zoom platform, and this meeting is being recorded. First item on the agenda are the meeting minutes from way back on October 6th, 2020. I don't know if everybody saw that Gretchen sent an updated version of it. Is that the updated version?
This is not the updated version because I think I had already left work. Did she mention what was changed in the updated version? Because I had one comment on these minutes.
She did. She said she changed everything.
Oh, she did.
Oh, great.
All the votes.
All the
just
votes?
Yeah.
You
She
know,
changed
just
all the votes and yeah.
word,
Okay.
you know, just small word changes.
Okay. So Gretchen, there was one comment I had, which was on, let's see. Oh, it was on, no, I'm not going to remember where it was. I'll just send it to you. It was minor. It was something very minor. I'll send it to you.
Okay. I corrected things that were like just a word was out of order or something. It didn't change. I didn't change anything that was a substance.
Okay. Oh, I know what it was. The commission issued, oh, it was on the, this is what it was. The comment I had was on the Reservation Terrace erosion update. At the bottom, the last paragraph, Steve Moore moved the concrete blocks should be removed at the time the super sacks are installed. It
Mhm.
should say Steve Moore moved to issue an emergency certification with the condition that the concrete blocks shall be removed.
Okay.
That was it.
Okay. Do we have any comments or changes or additions? I will
Motion
take
to
a motion.
approve?
Second,
All right, Steve Moore,
Yes.
Dan Warshall, Dan's not here, David Vine,
yes.
Ron DeCola,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Okay, we have somebody called Zoom user in there. I do not know who they are.
Think that might be
Yeah, I
Paul.
don't either.
Turn their mic on, see if they're
I'm gonna
Paul.
allow them to talk and see Zoom, whoever Zoom user is, you're allowed to talk. If you are Paul Healy, I'll upgrade you to a panelist.
And you need to unmute yourself. Zoom user.
Maybe this Zoom user can identify themselves.
If you don't want to identify yourself, we're gonna assume that you're not Paul Healy.
Okay. Some point Paul will make it in.
Yep.
All right, on to old and new business. Do we have Plum Island updates?
Yes, so we do have Plum Island updates, and the first update is that the city is now, because we had a few extra bags and a little extra money, it's been sort of determined that there is that we should have extended the super sack sandbags further to the south into the area between 71st Street and 77th Street, where it shows in red on this plan. This is a proposed plan for extending those sandbags further south. I'll just zoom in on it a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. So they have two scenarios, a 50-foot extension of the 3-bag barrier and a 100-foot extension of the 3-bag barrier. The issue with this, and so they would be, because bags have already been placed and the emergency certification that you guys issued has already expired, they would need to ask for another emergency certification for this extension of the bags. This area right here has also been eroding, and it wasn't in as dire situation as the rest of the stretch, but it is considered to be at risk during this storm season. So they have the bags and they want to extend them further. The question would be how they would be able to get that done without going over the vegetated dune in this area. So the mayor wanted me to let you know that they're considering using a crane. The crane that would be used to put the Christmas tree up after Thanksgiving could potentially be brought out there and would have the required reach to drop the bags along this stretch. So that's a possibility. Again, it's not confirmed yet that this is going to happen. They're still looking at it, and we're going to have a meeting on site to try and look at the logistics of it. And if it is a go, then I would guess that on December 1st, which is the next commission meeting, that you might be asked to issue another emergency certification just for this work. And again, and then this could be incorporated into the previous stretch in a notice of intent that still needs to get submitted.
Okay.
Julia, what are those red arrows to the south there? Is that pertinent?
These red arrows, I believe that was sort of a sketch of their potential location for access. Yeah, each access, because this is where the 69th Street pathway is out to the jetty and out to the beach. And so they'd be able to maybe come in off of that existing pathway, but then they'd have to cut through and over this berm and then back down. And this berm on the downslope side is vegetated right now. And so that's, that would be tricky, which is why they looked at, and this is another alternative, coming further out and then down onto the beach where it's already sort of open and leveled off right here. Then they just have to go further along on the beach stretch, which is why neither of those is an ideal solution. So that's why they're looking at getting a crane and just being able to do it from Reservation Terrace.
Okay, just one little update. I went out there today and I don't know who else has been out along Reservation Terrace, but where the illegal blocks were placed, there's, for some reason, there's a large old block that's vertical. And there are 2 of the illegal blocks on either side. Just as an FYI, I don't know why they haven't been removed, but clearly they're the same sort of blocks that were out there before.
It's along that stretch right adjacent to 73rd Street, right? In here?
Yeah, they're just one weird tall block, old block. And also there's going to be a, at least not here. Are we done with this?
Yeah.
Hey, Joe, before you jump, I know you said you were there. How are they looking and holding up?
Oh, the bags look great. From where I was, I did not get out of the car. I just drove around there, but the bags are pretty high and it looks like a decent wall out there for them. Hopefully they don't wall. Oh, there's Paul. Paul's in the attendees.
Oh, okay. All right, Paul. Hi, I'm gonna actually promote you to a panelist, Paul, right now. So
I saw them from Salisbury on Sunday, and you could see them for sure. It's a big white line.
yeah, they stand out.
Yeah.
So they're going to come to us with a notice of intent for the whole project? Is that the eventual?
That's what's supposed to happen in a situation like this. They're supposed to come forward with an after the fact notice of intent. So, and that, I mean, I think that's important in this case to document any conditions that the commission wants associated with these bags being here, if any, just to get it right.
Yeah, if they have to be removed or not, discuss that, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was just wondering at some point, if the Army Corps ever does do the dredging, will they just consider dumping that sand from the bags onto the beach?
I don't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah, it would seem to make, well, it would add a whole bunch of sand and.
Yeah, I mean, they bought the sand. They should at least leave the sand on the beach, right?
Yeah, maybe it's something we can mention to them to put in the NOI or something that they'll just leave it.
Yep.
Make life easier for them.
So just removal of the bags themselves, but
Removal of the empty bags.
Yeah.
Hi, Paul.
Hi,
Hey, Paul.
little technical glitches.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we'll go on to item 2.
Just one other thing on Plum Island.
yeah.
I believe there's a alliance meeting.
right.
In December sometime, right?
17th.
I thought it was this Friday. Maybe I was looking at it wrong.
Let me check my calendar. I think I put it in there. I thought it was December.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's not till December.
Pretty sure it's December.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, all right, so I got it wrong.
Yeah, December 18th. It's Friday,
Mhm.
11 o'clock, 11 to 1. So they'll send out like the Zoom link and I'll forward that to you.
Oh, one other thing on Plum Island, that removal of the material has oil or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
What happened?
They got rid of the oil tanks. They removed them, and I'm sorry, I don't have. I'll email you all tomorrow. For those of you who haven't seen it, a fantastic photograph that we have a drone photo that shows the whole site of the old foundation and on all the metal and rebar and everything around it, and you can really see the foundation from this drone photography, and it's fascinating. And so we sent that photo to DCR and asked them if they could get rid of some of the metal out there that's on the beach, because it's kind of a public safety hazard. And you know, we didn't expect them to go in and remove this whole concrete foundation of the old building, but they said that they want to do it. So they're going to put together a proposal for you guys to propose removal of that foundation from the beach. And I don't know how they're going to do it, but we should be getting some additional information on that in the next few weeks as well.
Yeah, it's amazing how much erosion has happened around there already, because the walls, the foundation walls have collapsed into the center. It's
Yeah.
the things that were sticking up like a foot or two a few months ago have already fallen over.
Julia,
Did we ever find out what building that was?
I haven't heard like a definitive answer to that question, but I think everyone assumes that it was one of the old Coast Guard buildings that was there,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and they moved
seems
everything
like-
back.
Yeah, that's where those old photos showed it.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of that would make sense.
Yeah.
But the hazardous waste, the barrels have been removed that were by the bathrooms, but the dumpster was still there when I was out there.
The dumpster is still there.
Yeah.
I'll ask them about that too.
did they determine that you said there's 2 tanks? Were they abandoned with product, or was it just a little residual, or?
They took out quite a bit of, I don't have all the numbers, but they took out numerous barrels of contaminated water. Now, so I don't know what that means for how much actual oil was left in the tanks, but I can look into that. I can find out for the next meeting. But
I'm
that
just
actually,
curious, were they like
Yeah.
1,000-gallon tanks, or just little homeowner tanks?
what they removed? Yeah, I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know the answer to that. Right. Okay.
Hi, Dan. Your mic is on. There you
How
go.
you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Yeah. Good.
All right, the gang's all here. Next, a discussion of public comment emails to commission members.
Right. So this was added to the agenda by the planning director at the request of the mayor, because they were looking into a system whereby there'd be an email address that the public could send public comment to on specific projects, that then instead of, you know, coming to me and me sending it out to you, that those public comments would be emailed directly to you all. So it'd come into this one email system, which would then automatically forward these emails to each of you individually. And the mayor wanted to know if that's something that the commission would be interested in. She asked the planning board as well. And the planning board does not want to do that because they like to have their public comments packaged and receive everything all at once before a meeting. And I was mentioning to a couple commissioners earlier that one of my concerns is that we don't get that many public comments by email prior to meetings anyway. So it's not as though it would give us that big of a benefit over where we are right now. And what I worry about is that we would end up getting emails sent to you that were unrelated to projects before you or issues that you should be addressing. And it could get somewhat complicated in terms of, should you respond? Is this something that would then infringe on open meeting law? That it was just, there are a lot of questions around it. So I don't know how y'all feel, but you can talk about it and I'll
I
convey
feel
back.
like I don't want it.
Yeah, well, I think the other question I thought of was, if all these emails came around to all of us, would they be visible also to the public because it's part of the public meeting record?
That's a great
That's true.
question, Paul.
Yeah,
I don't know that I would still then have to probably present them at a public meeting, or they would have to be presented by that individual anyway, in order to have it be.
yeah.
Or,
That
yeah,
could happen.
I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of what ifs to consider.
yeah, I think it would be better to have them, even if not, a week before the meeting, have them, if you get ones that are relevant, Julie, maybe you can make a Word file or something and just put them in the folder where the application information is.
Okay. We could do that. We could actually have, we could set up a folder within there that says public comment for each agenda item.
You
Yeah.
could do that.
And if there's something, it could just go right in there. Then the public can see it as well.
Right. Okay.
And the applicant can see it and all that.
Yeah.
So I like that. Great. That's actually a very good suggestion.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd just be afraid of violating the open meeting law somehow if we all started getting these emails and, responded. I'm sure we'd get in trouble eventually.
Yeah.
It
It would be so
we don't
easy to
need
do that.
and we don't need people going nuts and complaining at us. They can, which is what I'm sure some folks would do. So.
Great. I will bring that suggestion and your thoughts back to Andy and the mayor's office and see how they want to proceed with it.
Okay.
Good.
That's what they want. They just want to check in with you guys and get your opinions.
Okay. All right, next item is Evergreen Commons Port Place, 18 Boyd Drive updates.
Yep, that's on the agenda, but since it was placed on the agenda just in the past few days, we received a request from the applicant to postpone this agenda discussion item to the December 1st meeting. So we're gonna just table this one.
Yeah. As soon as I said it, I realized that they had asked to not talk about it today, so we shan't. All right, next item is Michael Riley and Lorraine Riley to Spofford Street, request for certificate of compliance.
Yep, and to Spofford as well. We just received a request today to continue that to the second meeting in December, which would be December 15th. They're not ready yet. We had asked for a couple additional items for this request for certificate of compliance. They don't have that information quite yet, and they need this request for extension as well to be dealt with. So we would move both those items to December 15th.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we'll need a vote on that one.
Motion to table until December 17.
Second,
All right, Paul Healy,
Yeah.
Steve Moore,
yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes.
Ron DeCola,
Yes.
and I vote yes. All right, next one is Timothy Higgins, 284 Water Street, request for determination of applicability.
Yep. Tom Hughes. I've unmuted you, I believe. Is there anyone else on this who you'd like me to unmute? I'm not sure who the.
No, I think just me.
Okay.
So good evening, Tom Hughes with Hughes Environmental Consulting here on behalf of Tim Higgins. The Higgins' own.
And
Are you there?
we lost Tom.
Tom,
No, he's not even in the list.
Oh, no. I might be responsible for that because I just tried to promote him to a panelist so that he could
There he
share
is.
his video. Oh, there you are. Tom, are you there?
Unmute yourself.
There. So
All right.
you
I
promoted
promoted
me,
you
huh?
to a panelist so that you could share not share your screen, but use your video if you'd like.
Yeah, nice. I get to actually see you guys. Well, actually, you guys get to see me. I can always see you guys. Yeah, so 284 Water Street. You may remember we did a notice of intent on this property, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago for a connection between the house and the barn and some more substantial work at the time. I think it was in the floodplain. It's since been modeled out of the floodplain as part of the Lomar that got a bunch of the Shandell Drive neighborhood out of the floodplain. So if we can zoom in, Julia, I don't think,
Yeah.
unless I get screen control from you.
Where do you
Please,
want me to zoom in?
just right on this page, actually. If
Oh,
you
okay.
get in on
Gotcha.
the picture.
Yep.
So there's a little nook in the house that's created. I don't know if you can see this, like a bump out. Yeah,
Right
so
here.
there. They're looking at putting a 220 square foot 3-season porch. The porch will have a frost wall foundation, so there'll be some excavation. We can maybe flip now to the next page.
All right.
Okay, we all know where it is. I guess we can go to the photo. So
It's right in here.
yeah, that nook right there. All the excavated material is going to be put right into a truck, taken off site, and then when they're ready to backfill, they'll bring enough soil back in to do backfilling. We're not going to have any, major stockpiling on site. There will be a dumpster on site. And if we can go maybe to the next page, I'll just show you the floodplain. You can see how it wraps around and near the house, but it doesn't actually, the house is not in it. And if you go to the next page, that's actually the official FEMA map. And you can actually see the blue line is the limit of that Lomar that was done. I don't know if you can see kind of around it, you can see the big shape
Yeah.
there. Yeah, so that's the area where the floodplain was changed down on Water Street. And then if we can go to the next page, this is the site plan. And you'll see that the work, if we can kind of zoom into that area,
Yep.
the work is in the outer buffer zone to wetlands, which are located across the street, and it's in the outer riverfront. From the NOI filing, there was plenty of square footage left in the 5,000 square foot for a grandfathered lot. So it's not a riverfront numbers issue. We're just buffer zone. We're across the street from the wetland resource, and that tan line is an erosion control line that's proposed. So it's really a pretty minimal project, not in the floodplain, just buffer zone, outer riverfront. And we've got erosion control in place. It's so close to the exemption for a deck, in the buffer zone, but it doesn't fit it because it has the frost wall being installed and it's enclosed. So we're just looking for a negative determination for that.
Anybody got any questions?
Just a comment. This is my neighbor, so I don't know how to handle that. Do I abstain from a vote on this?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Okay.
Well, what's the term? My head's-
Recusal.
Recuse because you're in a butter.
Okay, so.
Yeah, I just had a question. The excavation you're doing there, I thought it was going to use the existing foundation, or what? I'm not sure what's being excavated.
So it's outside the footprint of the existing house. So if you can see the in the image right in front of you,
Yeah.
see the sort of hash lines, those follow the perimeter of the existing house. And then the bolded dark line is the perimeter of the proposed new 3-season porch. So they'll have to excavate in
This
those
area.
where the bold line is. That area would be excavated,
Oh.
wall foundation put in.
But there's not going to be, it'll still be crawl space underneath it.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's but it's not a massive excavation, and
Yeah.
for a number of reasons, One being that, the Higgins don't want to have a big pile of soil and any more of their lawn destroyed than possible, but also to keep the impacts low to the contractor about the soil just going right onto a truck and being taken off site, and it can just come back for backfilling. There might be a pile at some point, but nothing major.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Anybody have anything else?
No,
If not, we have a motion.
This would be a -2.
Yeah,
yeah, I would think.
Okay, motion to issue a -2 determination.
I'll second.
okay. Paul Healy,
Yes.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. All righty. Ron, you can de-recuse yourself now. And next item is Jordy Vining, Clipper City Rail Trail, Phase 3, request for extension.
Okay, so with this one, Jordy's not available tonight, and I told him that that was okay because it's just a request for an extension. And as you all know, this project was significantly delayed due to the contamination that was found outside of the wastewater treatment facility. And they had to revise the plans for the trail in that area, revise the shoreline treatment, and do all that decontamination, get funding for it, et cetera, new permits. So, so they are looking for a 3-year extension in order to complete that segment of the rail trail.
Okay.
Is there any kind of a schedule that they have as far as when they're going to complete it? I see they say it'll be constructed in 2021, but I was curious when they were going to come back.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if you, I mean, so right now the trail is open through there. So they've done the remediation. They've backfilled the excavated area with the clean fill and the gravel, and the trail is now open. The shoreline is stabilized with the riprap as was allowed for that construction phase, for that remediation phase. And I'm assuming that, yeah, like when maybe weather conditions in the winter are okay and maybe they need more funding, I'm not sure of the details, but I'm assuming that they'll start working on the remainder of that piece in the spring. It is something that we just got $1 million from the state in a grant under the municipal vulnerability preparedness grant program. So that's to elevate the pathway in that location, which is also going to be protective of the wastewater treatment plant from sea level rise and storm surge. So it could also be that this next section of the work is waiting for that funding to actually, be appropriated and passed through to the city.
Yeah, the reason I bring it up is, I mean, walking it frequently, it's not exactly the best surface that you're walking on. And if it's something that, is going to take a long time to do the construction because of funding or whatever, I would have probably suggested to Jordy or question whether there could be some kind of an interim thing that was a little bit safer. But if they're looking at getting a contractor, that probably means they're closer to actually starting the work, because he does say that.
Do you mean, David, because the path surface is so uneven?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I'd
there's
agree with that.
rocks and,
Yeah.
it's not a good surface.
No, it's not. Okay. Yeah, I'll ask Jordy what his time frame is and if they can do or are planning to do any interim treatment of the surface for accessibility.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Need a motion?
Motion to issue a 3-year extension for this project.
Second.
Okay, Paul Healy,
Yes.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes,
Ron DeCola,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Okay, can I get a motion to open the public hearings?
Actually, Joe, I've got a revised agenda up here.
Oh.
I think I emailed you guys, but it didn't make it to the online agenda. 34 Francis Drive, request for certificate of compliance.
Okay,
Came up, it's a certificate of compliance that was actually issued for the same order of conditions back in September, on our meeting on September 1st, at the request of the owners of 10 La Valley Lane. Now the owners of 34 Francis Drive need their certificate of compliance for that same order of conditions. It was the Kelleher Pines subdivision order of conditions associated with strictly with roadway and utility work. So it doesn't actually apply to house lots, but somehow this OOC got attached to the deeds of the individual house lots, and now they all need this certificate of compliance because the houses are selling, etc. We've seen it before, but in this particular one, it shouldn't have even been applied to these deeds. And in September, we dealt with it by issuing a complete certificate of compliance for the OOC, for the Kelleher Pines subdivision, hoping to tie this thing up so that other future homeowners wouldn't have to come in and ask for the same certificate over and over again when we've already done it. The lawyers looked at that. Lawyers for 34 Francis looked at that. They took it to the registry. They tried to see if they could make it work, that certificate we issued in September, see if they could make it work for this property. They're having trouble getting those details worked out on how that would get done. So because they need to close, they asked if you could just issue another certificate of compliance for the same order of conditions, but just specifically referencing 34 Francis Drive rather than 10 La Valley Lane. So that's what I did. And I'll show you, this is what was issued back in September. It was for 10 La Valley Lane. This is the electronic signature sheet on September 1st. And this was the order of conditions. For some reason, the registry doesn't want to accept this certificate for 34 Francis Drive, even though it's the exact same. I'm sorry, this is similar. It's even though it's the exact same one. So in any case, just need to vote again so that I can issue another.
okay,
Okay, motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 34 Francis Drive.
Second.
all right, Paul Healy,
Yes.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
David Vine,
yes,
Ron DeCola,
Yes.
and I vote yes. And that signature on signature line does not look like mine. You can read it.
I'll try to do better next time, Joe.
Yeah, just put a scribble there, please. All right. Now can I get a motion to open the public hearings?
So moved.
Second.
Paul Healy,
Yes.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
David Vine,
yes.
Ron DeCola,
Yes.
and I vote yes. First item is Dan Grabovac, 758th Street, notice of intent.
Hey, good evening. Tom Hughes with Hughes Environmental Consulting. With me tonight, Eileen Graff and Dan Grayovac and Lisa Mead, who did the zoning hearing, is also, I believe, in the
Okay,
meeting.
I'm gonna promote them all to panelists as well, just so
Okay,
that
great.
everyone can see who they are. So, so it was Dan, Eileen, and Lisa, right?
Yeah.
Correct?
Yep. You still want to control the screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the property at 758th Street is, it's in the V17. It's currently developed almost all the way around. There's really two areas of decent vegetation. And if we go in on that picture, you can see, if you look at the right-hand side of the house in the picture, or from the street, the left-hand side, there's some nice, so the opposite side, right in there, there's some nice American beach grass. And then along the very back, there are some raised beds, and there's some behind the deck in that area, like right behind the deck, there's little bits of American beach grass that are in pretty decent shape. But otherwise, the site is covered with, landscaping beds and that are sort of sparsely vegetated, if even vegetated, gravel up front, a home with a solid foundation. So plenty to work with here without impacting functional resource areas. If we can we can skip past the USGS map, but maybe go down to the aerial. The only thing with these aerials that are taken early spring is you don't really see the vegetation all that well, but you can kind of see those areas are also on this, and you can also see how well developed the lot is. Go to the next one, you can see the floodplain. This is in the VE 17. You can see the little pin, which is roughly in the location of the property. It's definitely in that VE 17. The next one is the pictures of the site. So here you can see, the entire street front is basically gravelled along there. Plenty of parking areas. You can see the planting bed to the right of the house, sort of a lot of mulch and a few plants in the top center. And then on the right, you can see that well-vegetated area with an at-grade walkway that goes out to the shed. And then in the bottom left, you can see the deck that's in the backyard. Bottom right, you see the fire pit area, which is also in the backyard. And in the, in the bottom center. In the bottom right, you can see the really well-vegetated area that's between the shed and the street. So now if we go next, it should be the site plan. So the proposal is, and if we can zoom in on the plan part of it, the proposal is to tear it down and build a compliant home up on pilings, to try to consolidate some of the impacts, do clamshell, clamshell patio in the back, and clamshell walkways, gravel walkways, to try to come up with a compliant, more compliant system. Generally, the major improvement here is the elevation of the structure up on piles. There is a slight increase in vegetation, but there's not a lot of vegetative impact from the project. If you look sort of up and to the right of this, you should see the impact table.
Oh, okay, hold on.
So if you just sort of scroll over to the right.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, you're almost there.
Right.
Okay, right there. So the lot coverage actually gets reduced here, the building. And if we can zoom in a little bit more on the table.
Mhm.
Okay, I think that's better. All right. So we go from 634 square feet of building to 560, mainly because we're able to do 2 stories and it's going up in the air. There'll be a generator platform. The shed stays the same. The propane tanks basically stay the same. We get rid of an entry landing that's on the existing. The gravel pretty much stays the same. It drops by a little bit. Stone wood walls edging, we're getting rid of some of that. We're not adding anything new. We're just getting rid of portions of it. The decks and stairs drop down. Wood walks at grade go down to 0. Sandstone path drops. Mulch and landscape drop, and then clamshell patio and walk increases, obviously, because we're getting rid of all those structures at grade. And in the end, the total vegetated area increases by like 38 square feet. So it's not a drastic impact, but the drastic impact is on the improvement in the floodplain functioning. I think it's a really straightforward project. you know, and I think it, you know, ultimately it sort of checks off everything in the ordinance and it checks off everything in the Wetland Protection Act regs. So happy to answer any questions. And then, you know, Eileen's here if you have any questions about design or anything like that. But
All right, so you're saying that,
Earlier, can we just go back and look at the plan?
Yep.
Yeah. So during the construction phase, the beach grass that's to the right of the house, that nice, that won't be touched in any way, or?
you know, I mean, it's a small lot, so there may be some impacts, but you guys have a standard condition and it's a standard part of a project that if anything's damaged during construction, it would be replanted. You know, I'm going to be advising the contractor. It's mainly the pile driver that tends to have the most impact on vegetation like that, but I'm going to be trying to get him to stay out of there because, you know, it adds expense in terms of the, you know, to the client in terms of having to replant it. But it is an area where I think it would be pretty easy to replant.
Yeah.
And one of the things to note at the bottom, I didn't really point this out, but where the clamshell patio is proposed, we also formalized this sort of deer trails that go through some of the vegetated grass to get to the garden, elevated garden platform, sort of raised bed type things. And so we tried to formalize all the path work on site so that we didn't have anybody sort of going astray, to better define sort of paint on the ground where people are walking, which is why you see that little T go down, and that it also gives you another route to get over to the shed because that tends to be a place where people have been walking to connect over.
Tom, is the parking going to be underneath the building?
Yeah, I believe there is parking under the building.
Proposed garage floor at elevation. So if there's parking under the building, my question is, why are you leaving the existing driveway over to the side to remain? It looks like it's an area that doesn't even access the parking underneath the house.
Right. I mean, currently there's a lot of parking space in front of the building. And since we had very little vegetative impact with what we were proposing and we end up still increasing it, you know, parking is always a shortage on Plum Island. So, you know, we weren't looking to sort of give up parking capacity.
And essentially you're adding parking capacity. You're probably doubling parking capacity.
Yeah. Although people don't tend to always park under the building all the time. It's a lot easier to park outdoors, and then they'll pull in when they want the shelter, or maybe when the car is going to be in for a bit. But, you know, again, since we had the numbers, as you know, people are always trying to find a place to park. And if you get visitors, there's no place for them to park. So we're trying to, you know, give them as much parking as we can while still complying with the regs and complying with the performance standards.
and what about the fire pit?
Yeah, the fire pit is something they enjoy, and they're just looking at leaving it as is.
Can we go back to the pictures and take a look at that one that shows all the parking in front of the house?
Yeah. If you go up one page.
Yep.
Yep. So unfortunately, I don't have that area quite, you know, all the tight way into the right, but we can also look at the aerial too if you want. But if you see the upper left photo,
Yeah.
you can see it's just a sea of gravel all around that house.
So it looks like that parking goes like halfway the length of the house.
Yeah, there's a landscape bed. We can look. We should probably look at if you see actually the picture on the right. just to the right of that, that landscape bed kind of sticks out from the fence line, right? So it's just off picture right in that area. But yeah, there's quite a bit of quite a bit of gravel, and if we go back to the site plan, I believe we're reclaiming the planting bed into a planting area. So let's maybe take a look at that.
And Tom, if I can just comment as we're going over there, there's really only 3 parking spots today. There's 2 in the gravel next to the house, and then you can squeeze 1 in front of the house. So right now, there's only room for really 1 guest to be able to visit the house.
Right. So if you can zoom in just to the left of the house, you can see we're actually proposing to take that planting bed and get rid of the mulch and turn that into a native planting area there. There's a couple hydrangeas there that we're going to relocate off to the side and then plant that area that's shown in green.
Okay, so some of that existing gravel is going to get planted. Is that-
Well, it's more the planting bed that sticks out into the gravel on that side. That unfortunately, that photo I have there doesn't really show exactly how that's located. You can kind of see, you can see,
Like in here.
yeah, you can actually see the mulch bed behind it. So you're right, actually, a little bit of that looks like a little bit of that gravel goes away because we're actually coming right up to the front of the house.
Yep.
Could you explain how they get to park under the garage? I'm a little lost here. Are they going underneath the deck?
Oh, no. So I think what you're seeing is, and it does get confusing sometimes when you're looking at the overlay of proposed conditions versus existing. There's planting beds in front of the house that are going away. If we can go back to those photos for a second and look at the front of the house. I think what you're seeing is that edge bed right there.
Yeah,
So that's not going to be there anymore. They'll basically be pulling in under the house.
but
I can
in
speak.
order to get under the house, they're going to be driving under the deck.
That's correct. This is
And-
Eileen Graff speaking. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay, so it is confusing. You could see a dark line where the dimension line of 23.1 is defining, and that's the front edge. That dark line is defining the front edge of the first floor level. So the front 3 piles would be in the perpendicular direction. Well, that direction too, as Julia is pointing out, but then there, as you follow that. So that's the first floor level. But up above that is a proposed deck coming off the second floor, and that's the lighter line, thank you, that it's showing there, that up at a higher level, you will get this overhang.
okay, so it's not at the same level as.
You can, Julie, scroll down to see the profile.
Yeah.
Oh, so that should be the second floor. That should say second floor deck, actually.
Yeah, but you can see.
Oh.
Thank you.
So that would be the second floor deck.
Yeah, okay, I get it.
So I got a question. Does anybody else have an issue with that fire pit, concrete block fire pit?
Well, it's existing. It's not new.
No. Well, I'll take silence as a no.
Right.
Yeah,
We can move on.
Tom, do you have a elevation sketch that shows the lowest horizontal member and what elevation that will be at?
It should be right there. You can see there's the FEMA floodplain 11, 17 is shown right there.
Is this
Yeah.
hashed? That's, okay,
Yeah,
so
so
that's
it's
17.
significantly above, right? So it's 2.5.
I would just like to have a note about what that lowest horizontal member is at.
Yeah, we can provide that. There may be a note on the plan view. Everett often puts a note on the plan view of the lowest horizontal structural member. Eileen, do you remember what that is?
While Eileen's looking at that, Lisa Mead, if that, I think we had this happen one time before, Julia.
Yeah.
Perhaps you could just make it a condition that prior to the issuance of a building permit, a plan is provided that notes the elevation of the lowest horizontal member.
I can do that. We can do that. We can also put a special condition in that the lowest horizontal member shall be at or above elevation 19.
That's fine, whichever.
Yeah.
Thank you. And by the way, it's good to see everybody.
Yeah. Well, I think we can always see them, Lisa.
No, we can't. We can't
Yeah.
always see them on.
Just one question on the driveway. So you're going to come in and the entrance is off of 58th Street. So you're driving in under. So it's not
Yeah.
a straight shot in. You have to come in and kind of make a little left and right to get under the house. Or is it a straight access?
No, it's a straight turn and drive under.
Okay.
Yeah.
So essentially, there's no curb cut. It's just one giant curb cut.
Okay.
Right.
And the surface that's underneath the surface of the garage, if you will, what is that going to be? Is that?
That's
called
gravel.
out somewhere?
That'll be just a continuation of a gravel parking surface.
Okay. Is that shown someplace, just to make sure?
Not-
I'm looking to see what he has in his notes. It should be. I mean, we certainly could have a condition that the parking
Yeah.
surface shall remain gravel or compatible approved aggregate material
that's
such as
fine.
clamshell.
Just make sure it's.
Yeah, because Tom, it's sort of hard to see exactly where the boundaries of these things are. Like, is this line right here the boundary of the driveway and the start of the planting area?
Yes.
It would just
yeah.
be good to call out what the makeup of the driveway is so that you can say, okay, here's plant with native vegetation. This is gravel driveway. Because it
Right,
only says existing driveway to remain, but that's
Well, right
only
below that, it says loose stone driveway to remain.
loose stone driveway to remain throughout this
Right.
entire stretch.
Right. It's that sort of rounded, I think of it as gravel, but it's that rounded stone. So,
Okay,
and if you look to the right, you can see the green shading where it says plant with native vegetation. So we are extending the planting
yeah,
to basically square off the parking on that side.
right, that works.
And would it be safe to assume that bamboo screen wall, whatever it is going to be removed next to the planting bed to the right of the house?
This,
It's, if you go up to the pictures, there's a page up, planting bed, there's a
Yeah.
that
see it.
screen that
Yep.
needs to be turned into picket fence or something.
Yeah, we hadn't talked about that. Dan, is that an issue for you guys to replace that with something open?
Yeah, the only reason I liked it, it gave a little privacy in the backyard. So when we're entertaining or hanging out back there, but I'm amenable to doing something that is more compliant.
Yeah, maybe we could talk about maybe putting some, instead of just American beach grass, maybe we can put some bayberry shrubs in that planting area, and that would give you some vegetative screen.
Yeah, I think there's natural ways to accomplish the same goal. So, yep, totally
Right.
fine with that.
Okay.
So we could have a special condition that requires that fence to be replaced with a compliant fence.
Right.
Mhm. All right. Do we have any more questions?
Oh,
Okay. Any comments from the public? If so, raise your hand and we will unmute you. Well, I'm not seeing any. So what do we want to do?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second,
Paul Ely,
yes.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Ken Warshall,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes.
Ron DeCola.
Yes.
I vote yes. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you very much.
All right, next item is Eileen Bockoff, 13 Basin Street, notice of intent.
Hey, good evening. I'm Hughes with Hughes Environmental Consulting. With me tonight is Lisa Mead, Eileen Bockoff, and possibly Rachel Harris. I'm not sure if she was able to join us or not.
Yes, she's here, Eileen. I will I'm promoting Eileen to a panelist as well.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. Tom Hughes with Hughes Environmental Consulting. If we can zoom in on this picture, you may recall we actually came to the commission for an informal discussion on this property. This is a property where it's within the VE 17. The grades in the front of the house are around 12, and the first floor is not much higher than 12 on the house. And Eileen's husband has been suffering from Parkinson's for 17 years. And
hang one second, Tom.
Yep.
Eileen's still muted and
She is. Okay, let me fix that. Really?
I just
Oh,
see her in
okay.
the attendees
Yep.
area.
I'm trying to promote her to a panelist. It doesn't seem to be doing anything. I'm also trying to allow her to talk and it is frozen.
Oh.
So let's give it a minute and I will keep. It's not doing anything.
Maybe Eileen, if you can hear us, if you want to close out and come back in, maybe that'll reset something while
Right.
Tom is talking.
okay. All right, so you may recall we talked about how to make an entryway that allowed her to get her husband in and out of the house without having the door wide open for 5 minutes and trying to get a wheelchair in. And we evaluated a couple different options, and based on our informal discussion and generally the preferences of the project team as well, we settled on an option that is towards basin rather than off to the side, because it's sort of shielded or sort of sheltered a little bit from the floodwaters by the existing solid building. So if we can go to, not the next one, that's the map. You guys all know where it is, the one after that. So you can see the front of the building is almost entirely, other than just the very edges, a gravel parking area. Again, it's sort of that loose stone surface. If we go to the next page, you can see this was actually the alternatives that we looked at with some site photos in it. This was the option that we ruled out off to the side. And then if you go over to the right, you can see the option that we settled on, and we've got plans showing that. And we've better detailed that information based on our discussions in the plans that show later. But if we can go down to those photos that are on this sheet, you can see it's got that sort of rounded stone surface. So our proposal also includes replacing a large amount of that. I think we say that up to all of it would be replaced with clamshell because we think clamshell would be a better surface for a wheelchair because it lays flat on each other rather than, apparently it's, if Eileen's on, I'm sure she can confirm this, very difficult to push the wheelchair through that stone.
No, I would guess it would be if you don't have big tires.
Yeah, no, I mean, some of these people with these rounded stone driveways, I mean, they look pretty, but I've had some not too far from this site where, I've had to get in 4-wheel drive to get out of them because the tires just push right into them. So if we can go to the next page.
Sorry, I just got Eileen over
Okay,
on the panelist page.
okay, excellent. So this is the site plan or the architectural plan that we settled on, which is that entry to the front. And if we can go over to the floor plan, there were some questions during our initial discussions. We're trying to explain to you sort of the interior layout and how that forced the location where it was. That was a good part of our discussion. And what you can see is that we're trying to make it so that that front room, which is currently not used as the bedroom, but it's a small living room area. We're trying to make that so that the term vision is that's going to be where a bedroom basically. And so if we move the entry to the right, which was something that we discussed in our informal discussions, it ends up interfering with the ability to kind of have that work that way. You'll see that if you zoom in on that room layout, it's sort of well thought out in terms of how that will lay out with, potentially a future, I guess a shower area. And you've got the bathroom there and you've got the bed. There's really not a lot of other places to put that entry. And since we lose a closet, we swing the closet into the opening, and then that round circle is the sort of navigation of a wheelchair through there. So Rachel has really gone to great lengths to try to make this as small as would work with the geometry and with the layout, and provided you with a letter from the building inspector that concurs that this is eligible for the exemption, and notes that in their opinion this will not impact floodwaters and it's the minimal design possible to achieve this goal. We can go down the next pages. There's some of the architectural proposed, so you can see how it also has been designed so it looks nice on the house too, which is, always a plus when you're doing these things. So you can see, how it would fit for the existing house. If we can go down maybe to the next page, that's existing. And then if we can go down to the next page, this is the site plan. So there's no vegetation impacts from the project. All the work that's proposed is within areas that are existing stone driveway. The big item here is that we require a variance. And if you go down, I mean, I've got the letter from the building inspector, and then Lisa's office has provided a more detailed variance request to go along with that, as you guys often want that to be able to cite in the opinion. So I guess what I would like to do is open it up to any questions. I think it's pretty straightforward.
Tom, in the NOI discussion, it talked about that the addition will be on piles.
Yeah, so it's either going to be helical or wooden piles that would be essentially set down at grade. So it's not going to be elevated, but the underlying support will be piles. And then if there were a flood and things washed away, you would then see the piles.
Okay.
we're exempt from some parts of the building code, but we're trying to respect that, the code does require piles in a V zone.
All right. And it also mentions you're proposing mitigation plantings. I didn't see that.
Yeah, I noticed I had a holdover on the vegetation regulatory thing. We actually weren't proposing any plantings. If the commission wants, I probably can work with Eileen to find a place to put a couple plants, but that actually wasn't part of the plan. That was a holdover from a prior right.
And this is all on disturbed. It's already disturbed, right? This is the gravel driveway, so there's no vegetation impact.
Right. And we are, however, getting rid of like a curb landscape edging that's along the front there to make all these things work. So we are getting rid of a very minor obstructive, quite a wall. It's only, half a foot tall.
I know that there's no impact, but it would be nice to see some sort of native vegetation added if possible.
Yeah, I
Not
don't
talking a
know
lot.
Right. I don't know where we would do that. Eileen, you're on. Would you be okay with us finding a place to plant maybe a couple, 2 or 3 shrubs or something, native shrubs out there?
Of course, yes.
Okay. So if it's okay with the commission, if we could submit that as a condition, the location and species, it would be from the typical Plum Island list that you guys get for me.
Mhm.
Okay.
You guys want to specify how much mitigation planting, or you want to leave it to Tom and Eileen to find an appropriate place?
Yeah, I mean,
Without
they're not
specific-
required to, so I'll leave it to them, but it'd be nice if it was, like say 2 or 3 bayberries or beach plums or something.
Yeah, I just need to look sort of what would fit. I'm thinking maybe to the right of the shed, which is next to the house. So if you right up, but again, I want to work with Eileen on kind of what actually is not going to be in the way and not block their view up and down the street and would actually provide a little bit of function. So
Yeah.
we can look at that and we can provide that to you.
Okay. I had to do a double take when I saw Tom Calderwood's signature.
Gary Calderwood.
Yeah.
Oh, Gary, sorry,
I
Gary
had to do a
Calderwood.
double take. I had to do a double
I just
take
read
when
his
I heard
name.
he was- Yeah, I had to do a double take when I heard he was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the delay in that extra variance package coming to you was because when we were in front of you for the informal, we said, yeah, we can get a letter from the building
Bob.
inspector. And Bob had said it was all set, and next thing you know, Bob's gone. And we're sort of panicked because we wanted to get this thing into you and we couldn't figure out the
And
letter.
everyone else is gone too,
Right.
not just Bob.
Yeah. So
Barbara's back though, Julia. Barbara's back.
Yeah,
seems like you can't leave Newburyport, can you?
suck you right back in.
Yeah.
So I think for the record that the commission has the appropriate alternatives analysis and the mitigation measures and the overriding public interest in our filing. I don't know that we need to go through all of that unless the commission wants to, but I think Tom went through the alternatives analysis and the mitigation measures. So you have that for the record.
We certainly went through all that during our informal too.
Right.
So, do we have any more questions? Okay. Any comments from the public? Raise your hand if so. I do not see any. What shall we do?
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second,
All right, Paul Haley,
yes.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Dan Warshaw,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes,
Ron DeCola,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Thank you very much.
do we want to do anything further on the variance as far as, or is that vote?
Do we need to vote on the variance, Julie?
I think you should vote on the variance now, and then do the order of conditions after.
Okay.
Motion to accept the variance?
Second.
Paul Haley,
Yes.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes.
Ron DeCola,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, can I just ask one thing? That the contractor has asked if there's any chance the commission could allow either administratively or at risk for him to just install the 2 piles. It would be done, it's either wooden piles installed by auger or helical pile done by spinning it, so it'd be minimal ground disturbance. And he's concerned about, getting a frost that would then delay things later. And we would agree that if anything happened with the permitting, they would be removed.
What are you asking, Tom? I'm confused.
Whether during the appeal period, whether we could, it's the process of installing the piles that would support this.
I mean, that's at your own risk, because it is, the appeal period is what it is. It's not,
Right.
I don't believe it's actually my job to give anyone permission to start anything during the appeal period, when it's not the commission's ability to do that either.
Yeah.
So,
Right. What we would like to do is not have an enforcement order come out. If he started to put the piles in and then, during the appeal period, that's the issue. Obviously, if it's at risk, we understand that, but
I would go out on a limb and say that we're not going to go after.
Yeah.
thank
any
you.
of
All right. Thank you very much.
that. Okay. All right, next item is Clausen Sue Kazier. Hopefully I pronounced that reasonably well. 19 Francis Drive, notice of intent.
okay, we need Mary Rimmer for this one. So Mary, I'm promoting you to a panelist. Is there anyone else on? I'll also promote Sue. Okay. Hopefully that will work.
Great, thank you. See if I can get my video going.
Okay. And Sue, if you want to talk, Sue and or Klaus, unmute yourself if you want to talk.
Okay, thank you. Mary Rimmer will do the presentation for us, so we'll just join as needed.
Okay.
Hang on a second. Okay.
Hey, Mary,
Thanks.
just feel free to tell me if you want me to scroll to any specific.
Yeah, I think maybe the
Plan.
you can scroll down to the photo in this notice of
Yep.
intent, which includes the back.
Yep.
Yeah, right there. So this is about a 1 acre site, consists of two lots, and the project is to construct a basement access near where the window is there on the side, the back of the house. There's another window below it that's in the basement, and they want to construct a stairway down to the basement at that location, and also expand the deck. So the deck would, the existing deck there would be removed, and the deck expanded out about 20 feet by 56 feet. It's a pretty good sized deck across the back of the house, which would require the removal of those I think there are 3 trees actually that are shown at the top of the slope. But the photo indicates the sort of the ground cover and condition of the area that's proposed for development right now, which is pretty much, unvegetated. So I wanted to show you that first. And then if you want to switch to the site plan, Julia, that would be helpful.
Sure.
So the site is, as I said, it's a little under 1 acre. It does have a riverfront associated with it. There's an unnamed stream that looks like it's probably tributary to the Little River. That so the blue line that's to the far left is the mean high water line to the river. The other side, that's the 200-foot riverfront area.
Oh, sorry, we're over here. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the river where you're close to that WF boundary right there is the river. And the 200-foot riverfront area encompasses the entire site. And then associated with the river is a bordering vegetated wetland which is shown in that line right there. Thank you. Forested wetland there, and the 100-foot buffer zone extends all the way to the sort of southeastern corner of the site. So that actually the buffer zone is
Oh,
all
right
the
here.
way out there. Yep,
The
100-foot
whole
buffer
site.
zone right there. So it is one of those sites where your 25-foot no disturb zone under the bylaw has an exception if the entire property is in the 100-foot buffer zone. And that's the case in this particular project. So this plan shows the deck, the location of the deck, and a couple of trees that are the 3 trees that would be required to be removed that are right in the footprint of the deck there. Yep. One is just a little bit off. It's possible that that third one that's further to the north might be able to be salvaged. But the other 2 are close to the house anyway and should probably be removed. And you can see the location of the proposed stairs. So there's a small excavation just of about 5 feet to get the stairway constructed. So you'll come out the basement, up the stairs, and then up another set of stairs to get onto the deck itself. And then the other component of the project is a privacy fence, which is proposed along the limit of the sort of yard area, the more developed portion of the site. And that's, yes, exactly. That wraps around the entire back of the site and then ties back into the back of the house on both sides. And then on the other side of the house, it goes all the way out to the street frontage and ties back to the house. So that's essentially it. We have, I'm also showing that the back left corner of the house is about 68 feet from the river, from the mean high water to the river. And we tried to maintain that same distance. The closest point of the deck to the river is also the same distance as the existing house. We are proposing the erosion control barriers behind the location of the fencing, and then about 370 square feet of buffer zone mitigation planting, which would be between the fence and the erosion control barrier, some additional supplemental plantings just as an enhancement to the buffer zone.
So are that supplemental planting, is that going to include any trees?
We were proposing shrubs because there is already sort of a overstory there. So it would be understory, which is kind of limited along that side, that back slope there. We could include trees in another area of the site, maybe, into the left side of the house there.
Yeah, I would,
Mitigate for some of those trees that are taken down.
yeah, I would very much like to have
Mhm.
at least 2 trees,
Mhm.
or 3 if you take out 3 of them, because those are big trees
Yeah, they are.
within a 25-foot no disturb. And
Mhm.
I personally wouldn't have an issue with adding several trees in the 25-foot no disturb to the left there.
On the left side there. Does that sound okay to you, Klaus and Sue? If you're there?
We have just had to unmute us. Yeah, that absolutely. We're fine with that.
Okay.
So what is the width of the existing deck? Right.
The existing deck is, no, it's not showing very well, is it?
11 by 14, is that what
Yeah,
it's?
it's about
Or
14.
11.9 by 14?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to be 20 by 56.
Well, pretty much that whole red area.
Right.
That's a big deck.
Yeah, they asked me to, to show the maximum size that we thought might be able to be allowed in that area. They wanted a good sized deck. We have a little bit of wiggle room if the commission is a little more comfortable with something a little bit less wide.
Well, I would certainly prefer something less wide if that 14-inch tree could be preserved.
Yeah, I'd say if you could preserve the 14-inch tree and then maybe, I don't know, the other one, I think it's a 10-inch tree. You know, if it were maybe 50 feet long instead of 56, you could save that one.
This is Klaus. One of the concerns about the tree we're talking about here is that it's leaning in towards the house. It's a 22-year-old house. So obviously the vegetation at the time was a little bit different than it is now, and the tree has grown quite tall. So a lot of the branches we would have to consider pruning simply because of the fact that they are touching the house.
Well, and the fact that they could, God forbid we have a storm and they end up on the house is one of the concerns. I'm not sure what you mean by the 14-inch tree that you'd like to keep, though. Do you know, Klaus? I'm not sure I understand which tree that is.
That's the top
one in the
center one.
middle. Yeah, that one right there. Yep.
I'm sorry? Okay.
One that I have the cursor on is the 14-inch diameter. It refers to the diameter of the tree.
Yep. And I think that one can probably remain in place without causing too much of a problem. It's the other two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's the other two. That is correct.
Is that the
Yep.
tall? That's the tall pine, right?
The tall pine is the one in the middle.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that one's not as much of a problem.
Yep.
Just remove one. Okay. Yeah, that works.
Okay, so it's the 10-inch one that's going towards the house. Is that correct?
Yeah, the two on the left-hand side are the problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so long as we get some, including the vegetation you're planning on doing already, 2 or 3 trees to replace those, I'm
Yeah,
fine.
I wouldn't mind that. Just that they are obviously a lot smaller and doesn't any exposure to the house as it is. That would be nice if possible. But we are absolutely for making sure that we replace any vegetation back there.
Well, and that's what Mary Rimmer, you had talked to us about the types of plants that we would need to put in there.
Sure. Yep. Yeah, and you have other room on the left side, and you have room even on the left side of even on the other side of the fence. Really, there's still room where that's been cleared. That could be planted in that area.
Mhm.
That's correct.
Yep.
What's going to be the surface underneath the deck?
Are you going to just leave it as bare dirt, or will you put any stone down, Klaus?
I believe the idea was subject to obviously the approval of the commission would be to have the deck extend underneath there.
So are you suggesting a solid, I'll ask again, what is the surface at the ground level underneath the deck?
Right now it's dirt.
Right, and what are you proposing?
Whatever would get us the approval.
Initially, I think initially we thought we just leave it, but I don't know. We don't know. Is there something that is there an issue with just leaving it as it is? Is there something that we?
Oh, no.
To do?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Leave it as is.
Just want to make sure it's
Sure, it's under the deck.
some impervious kind of situation, like a surf,
Yeah, no, leaving it dirt is perfect.
Yeah, I have somewhat of a concern about the fence that's in the 25-foot no disturb zone. That's fair amount of construction and limiting what might be allowed to happen there,
Oh.
vegetation-wise.
The concept was that, you know, the developed portion of the site that's, you know, used and inhabited and disturbed by pets and things like that would be then kept separate and preventing any further encroachment towards the undisturbed part of the site, the wetland and the portion of the buffer zone associated with it that's outside of the fence. You can keep a gap underneath the fence to allow, you know, small mammal movement underneath it. But I think that the majority of the sort of wildlife usage of the property would be on the other side of the fence anyway, even without the fence. That's where the tree line is now.
Okay,
So it's
can we
really
go-
just following along the tree line.
Yeah, can we go back to the picture that showed the backyard?
You have that, Julia?
Yes, I do. Hold on one second. Let me just scroll back here. Sorry, this is taking me a while. I'm trying to get the thumbnails. I don't know what happened.
Is it up top?
It should be.
On your
They,
tab there up top.
It's in a different file.
Yeah, it's the notice of intent file.
oh, it's in a different file. No wonder why
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was.
yeah. There it is,
Sorry,
yes.
Okay, there
sorry,
we
sorry,
go.
sorry. Yeah.
So I guess the first tree you can see on the left there looks like it has two stems. Is that the 10-inch one we're talking about?
I believe it is, yes.
And then there's the pine, which is the 20-inch one.
And then you can't see the other one. It's behind the pine.
Okay. So the existing vegetation line there, is that where the fence is going to go?
The existing, the way the survey shows the existing vegetation line is the tree line at the top of the slope there. So not including these two trees that are shown in the photo. See, you can see in the background, the edge of the brush there.
Yeah.
That's what they followed on their survey. So behind these trees, it still continues a little bit of clear, and then there's a tree line. I mean, a brush line.
Okay, I guess I'm okay with the fence if it follows that tree line.
It follows along that brush line right behind where those trees are.
Okay.
And I would prefer to have a gap near the bottom if it's intended as a privacy thing. I would rather have a gap that creatures can get through because there's a lot of movement of animals.
In the deck, it says it's a ground level deck. Does that mean it's going to be lower than the deck that's there now? Are you going to drop down to the ground level, or
it's two levels, so there'll be an upper level that I believe, if I'm understanding correctly, your plan, Klaus, it's the upper level is similar to the deck that's there now, and the other level steps down.
Yeah, in very
Yes.
broad terms, it's basically extending what the existing is. It's obviously going to be a replacement, but extending that out and then bring it down to a ground level at the rest of the deck.
And
so as you extend it towards us, like towards the person who took this picture, it drops down and then comes out.
That is correct.
And the new stairway to the basement's gonna walk up onto the deck somehow?
Yeah, so
Yes.
that's actually in order to accommodate for the stairs to go into the basement. The second level would have to be extended out to bring down stairs to the ground level. So basically where the, out towards the left, towards the tree line, in order to accommodate enough space to bring the stairs to the basement.
So this is like a full stairway down. It's not like one of those pull-out things. It's,
No, full stairway.
yeah,
Stairway,
it's a full
correct.
stairway. Okay. And I guess that's concrete. Is that what
Yeah.
you do? Yeah.
Yes.
So a fair portion of this new deck is going to be at ground level, is that correct?
That is
Yes.
correct.
Okay.
That gets back to the question I was asking. It sounds like it's at ground level and you said it's concrete?
No, the stairs would be concrete.
Okay, and what's the deck?
The deck is gonna be, not wood, but that, whatever that, I think it's called, I forget what the name.
Rex.
Track decking or something.
Yeah,
A some kind of composite.
Composite, yeah.
composite.
Like a patio, only it's a composite wood, plastic type surface.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you were asking.
It's like a patio. It's not really a deck, but it.
So it's a deck that goes down, and yeah, it probably is more like a patio than a deck in that way. It would be decking, just, be same material that we'd use for the deck, but then it would come down.
Okay, and above it is, it's just open. So any water that was coming down would just go between the deck pieces and drain through?
Matter of fact, one of the things about this is actually an incline down towards the stream. So any water that would, the concept of the idea is to actually be able to drain it that way. But that's the concept of it, yes.
And the stairwell will collect water. There's no cover over it, right?
No, there would have to be, we've talked about a cover.
There will be they're
little
proposed to
awning.
be a cover on it,
Almost like an awning over it to protect that.
because otherwise it would require a drain, obviously.
Could we go back to the site plan or the plan that we were looking at? I'm just concerned that that plan doesn't necessarily point this all out.
Didn't we put the awning over it? Thought we did. Can't see it. Can you see it close? Should have brought up our copy.
So okay, so everything, I guess
That's coming up to the lower level. So everything from the stairs to the left side of the house, I'm presuming that's the lower level. And then there's another set of stairs shown. Just
For the deck that's easy to.
there, and it steps up to the upper level.
I see.
Right.
So this area on the far right stays an upper level deck or an
Yes.
elevated deck,
Correct.
but everything to the left is a at grade deck essentially.
Correct.
Okay. She just
Yeah,
stepped
it'll
down.
be it'll still be supported on sonotubes or whatever, elevated above, somewhat above the ground, but yes.
Okay.
And then that square around the basement stairs, is that what you're calling your cover area?
Yeah.
That's just the kind of the limit of temporary construction disturbance to create the stairs there. So that's,
Okay. So you're gonna build out the house to cover the steps? Is that
Like a roof almost.
Yeah, a little hip roof.
got it.
And this is gonna be what, put on sonotubes?
I'm not sure.
that's my understanding, yes.
Yes.
I mean, you could just put a bulkhead over those stairs instead of putting a roof.
Yeah, we thought of that, but we wanted to be able to have access from the backyard.
Hmm.
Into the basement.
So is there a door there now, or are you gonna make,
So right
There's
now,
just a window, yeah,
okay,
yep, they have to make a doorway.
And that'll be hand dug, I guess, down.
I don't know. Klaus, he asked about digs. I don't know if it would be-
Probably a small little.
Small
excavator,
tractor,
I would
yeah,
think.
okay.
Yeah,
small
Yep.
excavator?
yep,
And that can make it in there and around the house and
Oh, yeah.
yeah, there's plenty of room there.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of tiny ones running around Newburyport recently.
Yeah,
What else is there to do right now, right? But work on your house.
everybody's working
Exactly.
on their houses.
Okay. So what do we need? What do we want here?
Well, I just want to make sure that that 14-inch tree, that somehow we're going to save that either by making the deck a little bit smaller or,
That was the tree to the left, right? The first tree in the round of the three?
No,
No, the one-
they're talking about the one to the right, in the middle, the one, the third tree over, to the right.
Right, to the right. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the one that wasn't, it was the other two that are the big problem.
Yeah,
Okay.
they should be able to work around that one.
So we were gonna keep that tree. We were only gonna do the other two.
Okay,
Really not as much of a problem on the house as the other two are.
okay, I just want to make sure that one gets saved.
Yeah, that 14-inch tree.
And did you say what trees we'll plant, or do we need to specify what we want to be planted? We
well,
leaving that?
something that's appropriate and they can come out of a list or something, but, we may want to decide, considering that a 20-inch tree is being replaced. You may want to have something, have a couple of them that are, a couple 10-footers at least or something.
Yeah, well, we could just make that a
Allow them to
condition.
submit
Yeah.
something
Yeah,
before
and
they
if we
start.
plant the trees, we're not planting shrubs, or are you gonna do the mitigation as well?
We'd propose to do both.
Okay, and then did you say what the mitigation planting would be?
They would just be native shrub plantings that would, that are, I think it was like 8 to 10, but I don't recall numbers now. 370 square feet.
Yeah, it's
That would
it's up on
be-
the top there, yeah. And that's like, when you say native, what are you talking
Yeah,
about?
that'd be 7 or 8 native shrubs that would be planted within the 25-foot no disturb zone. So that'd be high bush blueberry or a dogwood, or I provided the property owner with a native plant list, and we're
Mhm.
working on selecting from that.
Winterberry is very nice too.
Winterberry's nice, yep.
So you'll submit something on that to, say, Julia, before they start the construction, just to finalize?
Sure,
it?
yeah, that's no problem. Why don't we say a total of 8 shrubs and minimum of 2 trees, deciduous trees that are native, maple or oak or hickory or something similar.
Okay.
Okay, so a minimum of 8 shrubs and 2 deciduous native, minimum of 8 native shrubs and 2 native deciduous trees shall be planted on site, and a plan to be submitted to the commission prior to start of work, something like that.
Yeah.
And the trees should be like a 2 or 3 inch diameter, something
Trees,
that's-
2 to 3 inches.
Yeah, at minimum.
Would need equipment to plant a tree that size, so you'd need the excavator to
Yeah.
put in a tree that size, yep.
Yeah, you'll have one there.
Yep.
And then just one last comment. You may have said this and I lost track of the conversation, but the fence, you said you're putting a fence in as well?
Yes.
And that's all hand? Or are you going to go in with equipment to
Whatever
do that?
the fence company, however they,
So minimal disturbance though,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
One comment, you may need some sort of a variance for an 8-foot high fence. The max is 6 foot. So I just put in a new fence a couple of years ago, and the requirement's 6 feet.
Okay, we'll check with the building inspector on that.
Okay, thank you.
Or just keep it at 6 feet. Yep.
I think things get super expensive when you, even if you get the variance, they start getting a lot more expensive, higher than that.
Yeah, I don't know how that we actually want to go full 8 foot anyways. Is
Well,
that what we
it's
put in
primarily
there?
because we are
Yeah.
towards the highway, but that's.
Oh, we were
that's a
thinking
different
of the
story.
highway, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, well,
The buffer.
Tough luck.
But I did want to just ask what you meant by a gap in the bottom of the fence. The only, I guess that would work. We do have a dog, so we would want him to be back there. So I hadn't really thought about that, but what do you mean by that gap? Are you talking like 6 inches?
okay.
It's
Well,
usually less than that. It's usually 3 or 4 inches.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks.
unless you got a digger, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Or the runt of a litter chihuahua.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Our dog is not a runt, unfortunately.
All right. Do we have anything else?
Set here.
All set, okay. Any comments from the public? Raise your hand if so. I see the Zoom user not raising their hand. So what would we like to do?
Motion to close the public hearing?
Second,
Paul Haley,
yes.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes.
Ron DeCola,
Yes.
and I vote yes. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, can I have a motion to close the public hearings?
So moved?
Second,
Paul Haley,
yes.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes.
Ron DeCola.
Yes.
I say yes. All right, we have, we have the enforcement thing, 1176th Street. I see Tom Hughes is still here.
Yep, Tom, let me get you back on track here. Hold on. I'm in Zoom no man land right now. Show up in a minute.
Zoom purgatory.
Yeah.
Transporting over.
There he is. Unmute yourself, Tom. Okay.
Yep, done. All right. Here we go. Video doesn't seem to work, but that's okay. Oh, there we are.
Here you are.
All right, so I wanted to update the commission on where we're at. We've got the existing conditions survey, and now we have, and we're still just going through to vet this one more time. But if you look at the pane on the left, that is the existing condition, and the one on the right, I believe I've got that right. If you can zoom in, Julia, down below is the
This is the pre-existing.
yeah, so that's the pre-existing condition. And I wanted to just share with you some of the photos that we went through in the process we went through to come up with the pre-existing condition. And then we're going to be going through this And now basically proposing from the existing condition how to then make it compliant from what the pre-existing condition was. So, so there's some obvious changes. You can see the front entryway is changed. There was an at-grade boardwalk that we can see in various on-ground photos, and then we digitized off aerial photographs. And then some of the on-ground things, Everett was, the surveyor was actually able to count boards and figure out dimensions in some of the on-ground photos. So we feel pretty good about where that is. The area between that on-ground walkway and the street was clearly vegetated, and the area on the opposite side was not. The whole backyard, and I'll show you some pictures, but the whole backyard, it was a brick terrace. So there were some things he did that were improvements. Clearly there were some things that weren't. So if we can maybe just flip through quickly, I'll kind of tell you. So here you can see the walkway. You can see the things that are towards the street from the walkway were vegetated, and it's tough to see it, but if you zoom in on that photo, you can kind of see that there really wasn't much for vegetation on the other side of that walkway. And it's, you know, it's not absolute. There's like a shrub in there and maybe a couple wisps of things, but there's also a couple of areas on the street side of the walkway that maybe weren't 100% vegetated, but we're basically treating everything on the street side as vegetated and on the other side is not. Just, we know the numbers will work out that way. We go to the next picture. So there is from the back deck, and you can see that whole backyard was a brick patio, solid surface. He did remove that, and that's now all gravel, but you know, so there is a slight improvement there in terms of getting rid of all that solid surface.
These trees are also gone.
Right. So there's, you know, but there's sort of arborvitaes and not really functional stuff, but we can talk about replacing them with something that's native. And
What about the taller ones on the left? Are they still there?
I'm not 100% sure. Now that you say that, I
don't
think they're
so.
gone. I think they're gone, but
I have some photos that I could bring up if we want to look at that, but
yeah, I mean, I think it's captured in the site plan. I think Everett's got all
Okay.
that shown on the site plan,
Okay.
but that's the kind of stuff we're vetting through right now, is just the last minute detail. And there's one area where there's now a well to where there's an entry to the basement, and it doesn't appear there was a well before from some photos. So we need to just clarify with the client, you know, what are we seeing in this picture, and did you add a well? Because if you did, then we got to undo that, right? So there's a couple little things like that we're trying to figure out. If we
Is
can
that-
maybe just go.
Is that
sorry.
big tree still there? Oops.
Again, that I don't know without looking at the plans, but that's the kind of thing that we will, when we file the NOI, we'll have all that completely worked out. I think that's shown on Everett's plan as gone, but I want to go out and I've got some photos from when I visited the site and just go through all that. It's been a while since I've been out there because it's been a lot of desktop analysis of these photos to come up with the pre-existing condition. So maybe we can go to the next picture. There's some street view. You can see that the prior fence was a picket fence and those big granite posts that still remain. The new vinyl fence was removed, but the posts still remain. Those big granite posts, they were there a while, you know, for a while. So maybe we go down to the next picture. Again, just pictures that we accumulated. That one doesn't really show anything very helpful. So this is just a street side image. Again, you can see that kind of from the walkway towards the street, that area was pretty green. So maybe the next one. Again, another street side image. And then we got a street side image from the corner so we can actually count those posts out to make sure and confirm some of the measurement stuff. This one, I was able to actually angle down better from the street side image, and you kind of get an idea, other than whatever that white thing is off to the left, everything between that boardwalk and the street, I think, gets counted as vegetated. And then this is the left-hand side of the house, back to the shed. It was all gravel prior. So really the biggest impact appears to be the removal of the arborvitaes and possibly that tree in the back. And the change in the vegetation towards the street. And we're going to be quantifying all that, making sure that there is, mitigation for any vegetative impacts that occurred on the front of the house. So again, here you can see that there was, it almost looks like a manhole there down on the ground in the middle of that patio area, but that whole backyard was hardened prior to. And I think, is that the last of the pictures, Julia?
Yes, but I'm just gonna share my screen with you to show you one more picture
Yeah.
that I
that'd be
took, so
great.
we can see, hold on one sec, because the backyard is shown in this picture.
Yeah, that would be good. We plan on showing you before and after photos of each area
Yeah.
in the filing when we come in, but I did want to, it's been a while since we've given you anything of substance, so I did want to just sort of show you where we're at.
So can you, hold on, can you see this photo?
Not yet. I think you have to unshare your screen and reshare it. Okay,
I
no,
did, all
that-
right. Can you see a photo now?
Yeah.
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
Is that the tree?
So this, I think, is the tree. This is the fence that got taken down. This is the
Right.
back deck. That's an at-grade deck. It's got a table on it. Where the
Right.
old deck, sort of where the old deck used to be, but you can see the arborvitaes are gone. Actually, I'm not sure this tree is the same tree.
No,
I
it's
don't think
not,
it
because
is.
that,
I don't think it
No.
is either. I think there was a tree taken down in here somewhere.
right,
I
right.
have another photo. Hold on a sec. I'm going to
Is that a
Well,
fire pit where the manhole was?
for you.
Maybe.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, that's definitely a fire pit there.
so this is a different tree. It's still there.
Yeah, there was a tree in the corner towards, what's that side street there? Is that Overlook?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was a tree in some of those older images that was over on
Yeah.
that side too. Yeah, so we will document, what trees are gone, what vegetation is gone. And so you can see fence is gone. But some plantings did get put back in, but now I've got to get, accounting of, are any of those, problematic plants? And
Can you see this picture? Now I'm back to your photo. Can everybody see it?
Yes.
Okay.
yep,
So this tree looks like the one that's still there.
right,
If we go back to your other photo of the back of the house,
right. The one from the deck, I think.
one from the deck,
I think so, yeah.
that's
so
a different,
that-
that's a different
right.
tree.
Well, I'm not sure, actually. I think that may be I've got to look at where that house is. Is that the house along Overlook behind it? In which case, we're looking at the same tree from a different angle.
Hold on.
Actually, can you go back to the one of the backyard that we were looking at a second ago?
This one?
No, so it is the same tree. So if you look at that picture is taken from the deck through the opening where the stairs are.
So did they have two decks?
No, that picture is on that
Oh, I
deck,
see.
right where your cursor
I
is, looking
see,
back
I
at that
see.
tree.
Right.
So there's one tree and the tree is still there, but all the arborvitaes are gone.
Yep. And if we go back to here, we can see, yep, the tree was in that corner and the tree is still there.
Right.
But all
So
the
Everett does
arborvitaes.
show all that stuff, but we just
Yep.
want to make sure, as I'm going through, I'm going to be doing, before and after photos as close as I can to the same areas and really try to provide you guys with a level of comfort that what we're showing is actually accurate for a pre-existing condition. It's not easy to do, to come up with a surveyed plan of a property after somebody's changed everything.
Right. I'm impressed that you got this, actually. You got that much detail.
There's another 40
I'll try to-
photographs. I just took
Where did
like
you
a
find
random-
where did you get the photographs?
Some from him, some from realtor.com, because when he bought the property, there were like 40 pictures of the house and not
Okay.
many were outside.
Yeah.
But somebody took a picture of the deck to show what a beautiful deck it was. and captured part of the backyard. So, we just did all that stuff, a lot of aerial photographs. The 2020 MyMap is helpful in some stuff. The 2019 orthophoto from USGS is helpful in other things. It's just because they're done at different times of year and different years. But we've just been going through a lot. And what I plan on doing is giving you guys substantial amount of information on how we came up with it beyond what I just did right now as part of the NOI filing. And then we're going to try to undo any of the things that you would not have permitted. You know, and there's certainly some stuff out there that's pretty obvious you wouldn't have permitted. And on the one hand, it's kind of a shame for Mr. Condon, because had we come into you guys with a site in that condition with NOI, I mean, I think you guys would have been fairly relatively liberal on what you allowed, given what would be coming out. You know, all of that brick patio coming out is, you know, is a good thing. It's a lot harder when you do it after the fact. So.
But he replaced all of that brick patio with a whole lot of gravel, and he replaced everything in the front. It's like a quarry. It's a whole site of.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not, he took non-vegetated and replaced it with non-vegetated, but it's certainly a more compatible material. I would rather be around a house that had that material in the back during a big storm than a brick patio. But so our next step, once we get to the point where, which we're pretty much just about there, we just have to go through and QA, QC a couple things. Then we're going to start working on the NOI plan. And what I'd like to do is send a draft to you, Julia, before we file, to make sure that that you're in agreement with the general approach. And then we'll come in and file with the commission with that. And then you could amend the enforcement order, once that's done, to provide whatever deadlines you want for that work to get done, as well as maybe put in conditions in the order.
So are we talking the second meeting in December?
Well, your deadline for that's next week, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I think we may be talking first meeting in January, but I think we can have a draft plan that we could share with the commission by the second meeting, and or even the plan that we can share with you guys under the enforcement agenda, while we're filing it.
Okay.
So you're planning on getting me an NOI
I guess the next step in my thing is, we do have the Thanksgiving holiday in there, but end of next week-ish, possibly beginning of the following week, I plan on getting you a draft plan to go over with us so that we can incorporate your feedback into that to finalize it.
Okay, but Tom, I don't feel comfortable. I can't tell you what I think and then have that be something that I don't speak for the commissioners, so I don't really want to be
understood, but
for advising this. Yeah.
Well, it was more, and that's fine. It was more to make sure that in your, initial view, you feel that we've addressed whether it's an adequate addressing, whether
I'll take a look at it, but I'm not going to tell you what to change or not change, and then have that be something that goes to the commission for their, you know what I mean? I can't.
Okay, I was just hoping that if you looked at it and said, oh no, that absolutely needs to change, then
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I know, I understand. I just wanted
Yeah, no, I get it. You're the professional staff. These are the guys that vote. So,
right.
I understand that, but I want to make sure that it passes a straight face test with you first.
Yep. Okay, so then if the draft plan we were working on end of November, early
December, yeah, we'll have that,
so January, first meeting in January, second meeting in January for a
we would, I think I will have a filing plan ready to present to the commission outside of a filing at the December 15th. Is that when your second meeting is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the December 15th meeting, and we would file it. I think the filing deadline for your first January meeting is probably the end of that week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so unless we present it informally and the commission says, you know, this is not good enough for filing, in which case then we can talk about a schedule.
Okay,
But
all right,
I think we're looking at being in for the January hearings with that.
okay.
Okay.
All
I guess
right.
one question would be is if the commission is going to consider or want to do a site visit, would it make sense to try to do that after we get the draft plan ready as part of that December 15th agenda? Just so we
That
don't
would-
deal with.
I would
Don't
think
do
that would be better.
Yeah, so maybe, why don't, Julia, maybe you and I can talk about scheduling that once I get you the draft. And that draft can be something that we can use as part of the site visit under enforcement before we file.
I like that. I think it'll be good to have a draft plan when we go out there. And I do think it's important for everyone to go out there and talk about it.
Right, and before we have a foot of snow on the ground.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so it sounds like we kind of got a schedule and a plan that should work.
Okay.
All right, thank you, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
You too. Next item are orders of conditions.
Oh, wait a
Yes.
minute.
What?
Didn't we have something on Nancy Street that we were looking at that?
Yeah, we did. And it's not on the agenda. I got the photos from the neighbor. And I looked at the photos and I mean, she took some good photos of the site. What's hard is to see, and she has previous photos and today's sort of photos. I looked at the aerials and I looked at the pictometry going back to 2014. And it's very difficult to see what the difference is between then and now. So I'm just feeling like I need a little bit more information because while the photos are really helpful, it's still unclear. So I asked Department of Public Services whether or not they had any drone photography of the area, and they don't, and they're not sure they can go out and get that. Because essentially what we need is a better current, like 2020, like right now, aerial picture of that I can compare to the 2019, 2017, et cetera, to see if there's actually been a noticeable difference in what's going on in that particular marsh area. Because when I look at those photos right now, I can't see a difference. So she's given me these pictures that she took. Anyway, it's inconclusive. So if I can't get any additional aerial data that's more recent, I don't know. I'm not really sure what to do with this one. I hesitate to send someone a notice of violation without enough evidence. Something.
Well, have you communicated at all with the owner?
No, I have not communicated with the owner. I haven't gone up to the door and knocked on the door. So I guess what I'm thinking is maybe we just send them a letter.
Yeah, I mean, I would think instead of making it a enforcement or a violation, just start off with some communication
Yeah,
on what in fact has gone on there and see what
Right.
at least they have to say.
right. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at because I have the one side and I just need to get the other side. And I resist sending something like official and then having it just be a he said, she said, but I don't know what that other side is yet. So I will do that. I will reach out to that property owner and see if I can just get an understanding of what's going on from there.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
And then we can invite them to a meeting to,
Yeah. Because the neighbors has said that they're taking, that they've been taking dirt and rocks from the end of the street and putting them in marsh. And it's hard for me to see where there's any noticeable excavation or loss of material from the street. So anyway, yeah, I'll continue to dig into this one and.
okay. Now can we go into orders of conditions?
Sure.
Thanks. First item is Dan Grayovac, 758th Street.
Okay, 758th Street, that was demolition of the home and replacement with the new home on pilings. With parking underneath, and there's be a net increase of 38 square feet vegetated area. So, so the special conditions that were discussed were that the lowest horizontal member shall be at or above elevation 19. The floor of the garage is to be gravel or other loose material consistent with Plum Island guidelines. Solid fence adjacent to the existing planting bed is to be replaced. New fence compliant with the Plum Island fence guidelines. And that is all I have for specific additional conditions.
Okay.
Anyone can remember anything else.
You got anything else?
Sounds good.
Okay, get a motion?
Motion to issue the, oh my gosh.
Order of conditions.
Order, thank you, the order conditions for this.
I'm not the only one.
Oh, boy, it's too late.
Just for that, I'll second it.
All right,
Paul Healy,
yes.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Dan Warshaw,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes.
Ron DeCola.
Yes.
I vote yes. All right, next one, Eileen Backoff, 13 Basin Street.
Okay, 13 Basin Street with the request for the variance. You voted on the variance. I will put in the variance findings, the language from Attorney Mead's variance request that outlines the 3 criteria. For the order of conditions, the only special condition that was discussed was a condition to submit the location and species of the proposed mitigative plantings prior to start of work. They had talked about maybe throwing some shrubs over by that shed, if they can.
Yeah, no, that's all I could remember. Anybody else? Miss anything? Okay, get a motion?
Motion
Motion
to
to issue the order of
approve.
conditions for this project,
Second.
Paul Healy,
yes.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Dan Warshaw,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes.
Ron DeCola,
Yes.
and I vote yes. All right, last one, Clausen Sue Kyer, that's probably how it's pronounced, 19 Francis Drive.
All right, this was the deck in the backyard. And the special condition, there's really only one special condition added to this, which was that, oh no, I'm sorry, there are 2. The proposed privacy fence shall have a gap at ground level sufficient for small wildlife to pass beneath, which was approximately 3 to 4 inches, Mary indicated. And the other is that, let's see, a minimum of 8 native shrubs and 2 native trees, deciduous trees of 2 to 3 inch in diameter minimum shall be planted on site within the 25-foot no disturb area. And a plan of the location and species of these shall be presented to the commission prior to start of work.
I think there might be another one regarding that tree that we want them to save, that they will come in with a plan for any modifications to the deck that need to be made in order to save that tree.
Okay. Okay, great.
That was a 14-inch one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, one. All right, great.
Okay. Anything else? Can I get a motion? Anybody?
Steve?
Come on,
Motion to
Ron.
issue an order of conditions for 19 Francis Drive.
Ron, you're just too late.
I'll second it.
All right, Paul Haley,
Yes.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes.
Ron DeCola,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Ron, next meeting, you're gonna have to make all the motions.
Step up my game,
Yeah.
huh?
Okay, before we go, I have a question for you guys regarding the next meeting, because since you were so super efficient and didn't continue anything from tonight's meeting to December 1st, the only thing that would be on the December 1st meeting agenda would be what we moved from the start of this agenda under old and new business, the Evergreen Commons Port Place updates from Tom Hughes would be the only thing for December 1st. And
Well,
given that he's already coming in with other stuff for December 15th, do you want to hold the public meeting on December 1st for that one item? Because we don't have any new agenda items for.
No, I would
December
like to
1st.
cancel the meeting.
This sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't see having a meeting for one item like that.
Yeah, they can wait till the next meeting.
Maybe we should have a Christmas party.
Yeah.
That'd be so nice.
Mm.
Yeah.
So long as it's in a small enclosed area and we're all there.
You can all come over to my basement. We'll hang out down here.
Great.
Oh, it's too bad. Well, eventually.
Someday. This is the lost year. Next year
Yeah.
we'll all make up for it.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
I hope so. We
So
will
we got
try, that's
anything
for sure.
else? Anything else?
Did we
That's
talk
it.
about, did we
Oh.
talk about a time to visit that property on 76th Street? Is that something we need to plan?
We do need to plan that, but what Tom was asking is if he could get us the proposed plan for, like a draft plan first, and then schedule the site visit. So I think he probably didn't want to schedule the site visit now because he's not sure when he can get us that draft plan.
Yeah, we can schedule that over email. That's
Yeah,
fine.
we'll do that over email. Yeah, and you can also go out anytime and take a look at that site. It's sort of helpful to see it.
I drove by it yesterday and they've got a funny looking fence in the front there.
Yeah.
It's like ropes going between those granite posts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well,
I saw that, but it's fine with me. I mean, I like
Yeah,
those.
I mean, it's not, it's legal. It just looks a little odd.
Mhm.
it's nautical.
Yeah.
Where that came from. Yeah.
But I would like to look at the backyard.
Can't really see it from the road.
No.
Well, you can though, because now you have to go around the corner though. Because
on Overlook?
they essentially took you have to go down Overlook. And it's sort of a little really tight turn right there. But once you get over there, because they removed that privacy fence, you can see right into their backyard.
Oh, okay.
But we'll go out there. I think it would be helpful to have the plan. So I'll let you know about that. And anything else that comes up in the meantime, I will let you know about. That's it.
I have one more question on the rail trail we talked about today. Which stretch of that are we talking about? I don't know that I was on that.
Right. So if you were down by the rail, if you were, it's on the waterfront piece of the rail trail. So, you know where the wastewater treatment plant is? Like if you were coming from Joppa and heading towards town, you can walk along in front of that house and then you go kind of behind the wastewater treatment plant. That's been closed off for, I don't know, a year probably because of the contamination that was back there. And that's the stretch that needed to get finished of the rail trail. That's now opened up because they finished that remediation work, but that's also where the trail is going to end up being elevated so that it can act like a berm and kind of protect the treatment plant from sea level rise and flooding and stuff. So that's that remaining piece that needs to get done.
Okay, thanks.
And Julie, you're gonna ask somebody about those 2 blocks that are still sitting there?
Yep, I have a note to ask about the 2 blocks out on Reservation Terrace. What else did I have note about? Oh, the dumpster, asked DCR about the dumpster removal of the parking lot and how much actual oil or petroleum product was removed, what were the size of the tanks, etc. So I'll get that information. And I'll send you the drone photo of the foundation so you can see it from the air, which is really kind of cool.
Yeah, the guy who had done it, UAV look, whatever his name, I don't remember his name.
Yeah, Ethan. Yeah.
Ethan took that.
Yep.
How about
What else? If anything else comes up that you guys notice or whatever, just email me in between because we haven't been meeting that much. So if there's anything you need to.
Mhm.
And as far as the posting for the other member of the commission,
We got to get that posted. That hasn't been posted yet.
Okay.
I'll make a note to get back with Donna about that one as well.
Feel free to recommend somebody if you know one.
Yeah.
Now, and you all should let me know if there's anybody you know of who is interested too.
And Frida would like to thank you for your service.
Hi, Frida.
Very good.
That's awesome. She's cute.
All right.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Second,
Paul Healy,
Yes.
Steve Moore,
yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
David Vine.
yes.
Slow to the
Draw.
action again, Ron DeCola.
Yes.
I vote yes.
Yeah.
All right,
Oh,
folks, I guess we'll see us. Yes?
By the way, are we going to get a new link, Zoom link for the next time?
Oh, yeah. Paul needs to get
Okay,
another Zoom link.
so
Yeah.
Paul
I think
is
I
the.
Yeah, did I just wear it out or?
So did you use the same one that
Yeah.
you've been using the whole time?
Yeah,
That's really funny.
yeah.
Well, I'll ask Andy to. That's really weird. I'll ask Andy if he can send you a new one.
Yeah,
We'll test it out. Worst case scenario, if a new one doesn't work, we'll do this
Yeah,
again. I can
right.
promote you, but I don't know what could have gone wrong with that. That's
Yeah.
weird.
You've been a problem child with this, Paul. I'm not liking it.
yeah, all this high-tech stuff. Oh,
Mm.
Mhm.
All right, folks.
okay.
Night.
Well,
Night
take
all.
care.
Good night.
See
Good night.
you in a month.
Yeah.
Night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, I gotta get. How do I do this end? Why is this not working? There we go.